Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is JC for Hidden Knowledge, and today I have a pretty special video for you guys. This is going to be a best of the best Mandela effects for 2018. I know I'm a little bit late, but here it is. It's also going to serve as a milestone video for reaching 80,000 subscribers for this channel, as well as a 2-year anniversary for this channel. As I mentioned, this is going to be a best of the best, so if you watched every single one of my videos, this video is going to be a bit repetitive. So if you did that, then I would probably skip it, but if you missed a few, this is going to be the perfect video for you. With that out of the way, let's get into it, guys. The first one that got a big reaction out of you guys was this one. It had to do with the song lyrics for the song The Bare Necessities from the Jungle Book. And the lyrics in question were the following. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be blank of my big home. And I gave two options here. A, I couldn't be fonder of my big home, or I couldn't be found of my big home. And to the surprise of many of you, the actual lyrics sung are, I couldn't be found of my big home. And here it is. Hey guys, I had originally put the soundtrack here, but YouTube, for whatever reason, is not allowing me to use it this time, even though I've used it before. So I had to remove the track, but I put a link in the description down below so you could hear it. This is what some of you had to say about this. Whoa, it was definitely fonder. Found makes no sense. I googled the lyrics and it says founder, but when you listen to the song, it definitely says found. Do you agree with him? This next one had to do with Kellogg's Raisin brand cereal and the character on their box, which is a sun. And I asked a pretty simple, straightforward question. Did the sun ever have sunglasses? Yes or no? And the correct answer to this question is no, it has never had sunglasses. And for those of you unfamiliar with my channel, I always go back to the database of logos and see if they had ever had sunglasses, for example, for this Mandela effect. And I could verify that it had never had sunglasses. And many of you had many opinions regarding this one, and here's one of them from Elizabeth. Absolutely remember the sun had sunglasses. In fact, there were black ones. I'm positive of this. What the hell is going on, people? I was going to use multiple comments for each example, but I think that's going to drag on the video too long, so I'm only going to use one per example, if any. Moving on to the next one. This next one has to do with Uncle Sam. Of course, many of you are familiar with Uncle Sam. He was used in posters for recruitment for the US Army, and the question was whether or not he had red stripes on his hat, similar to those ones found in the US flag. And the correct answer is no. He did not have stripes. Of course, many times people have dressed as a version of Uncle Sam and they always have red stripes on their hat. Before I move on to the next one, I just wanted to clear up a point. Many times when I say the correct answer, people seem to get upset at that. They tell me, what do you mean correct answer? There could be no correct answer. And I agree. When I say correct answer, I mean correct answer to the current reality we are in, timeline, or whatever it is that you believe in, if you believe in the Mandela effect. Moving on to the next one. This next one, interestingly enough, has to do with phone emojis. Of course, phone emojis are very common in our everyday lives as we use them very regularly and we're very familiar with them. This one specifically had to do with the hiking emoji and whether or not it had ever existed. Well, it turns out no, it has never existed. There has never been a hiking emoji. In fact, I found this one in an article about the mystery about the missing hiking emoji and people remembering it. Jason had this to say about it. The hiking emoji did exist. There were several varieties of skin color and gender. This is so scary. And this sentiment was echoed by multiple users, and it's a quite interesting Mandela effect. Moving on. This next one has to do with Oscar Wilde's most famous novel, The Blank of Dorian Gray. I had two options here, the portrait or picture of Dorian Gray. And the correct one is the picture of Dorian Gray. Degasmo had this to say about it. It is still called the portrait of Dorian Gray in Swedish. And this is very common in other languages. Certain lyrics or titles of certain things will be exactly as people remember it. However, it is no longer that in the English version for whatever reason. Those are our first 5 Mandela effects. Before I move on to the next 5, I have a bonus Mandela effect, and it has to do with a historical event that apparently many people do not remember, including myself. And it has to do with our 43rd president, George W. Bush, and an attack that apparently occurred when he visited the country of Georgia. A man allegedly threw a live grenade at him. which did not detonate. However, this man was later found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. I showcased this one in a video, and nobody seemed to remember this. If anything, the only thing people remember of any kind of attack happening to George W. Bush was when somebody threw a shoe at him. Other than that, nobody had ever heard of such an incident. How about any of you? Have you guys ever heard of this incident happening? Next up, we have a movie quote from the movie Scary Movie, which was released in the year 2000. It is a parody movie. And the popular quote that many people seem to remember from the character Shorty is one of the following. A, I see dead people. B, I see white people. And the correct one was, I see dead people, which is the exact same quote from the original movie, The Sixth Sense, featuring Bruce Willis. And this is what all things Naisha had to say about it. You're not gonna sit up here and tell me it was I see dead people. I used to watch that movie religiously, and it was I see white people. That was the joke. And many people seem to agree with her, and I actually agree with her as well. And there were just a ton of comments saying similar things. This next one has to do with the position of the jet engine in relation to the wing of the plane. Many people remember it being in the center of the wing or coming out the back of the wing. However, it turns out it has always been far ahead of the wing as pictured here. When I first showcased this example, many people questioned whether or not it had been behind before and then it got improved or something happened, then they moved it forward. But as it turns out, I've looked into this, and since the introduction of the jet engine commercial flights, it has always been in this position. Cam had this to say about it. The plane just looked really bizarre to me. I remember them being always underneath the wings and slightly extending forward. Now they are sticking out so far that it looks ridiculous, like a poorly constructed Lego model of a plane. Laughing out loud. This next one has to do with Leonardo da Vinci's masterpiece, the Mona Lisa. And if any of you have followed the Mandela effect, you guys know there's a big Mandela effect. One of the first Mandela effects that happened with the Mona Lisa that had to do with people remember her smiling or not smiling. However, this is not anything to do with that. This has to do with the identity of the Mona Lisa herself, and the fact that many people remember it being a complete mystery, some saying that it was an unknown woman, others saying that it was a self-portrait of Leonardo da Vinci himself, and many other theories. However, as it turns out, the Mona Lisa is actually no mystery at all. It is very well known that the Mona Lisa, also known as La Gioconda, was the wife of Francesco del Giocondo. So there you have it. It was no mystery at all behind the true identity of the Mona Lisa. And here we have some comments. Mega had this to say, I recall Mona Lisa identity equal to Jane Doe. No Filter Gaming Night had this to say, unbelievable. I read many articles saying the Mona Lisa was unknown. I also had 4 teachers tell me the Mona Lisa was unknown. The video game Assassin's Creed The Brotherhood even has a joke referencing to the Mona Lisa being unknown. Somebody tried to say that the Mona Lisa and the Gioconda are the same exact thing, just a translation. However, that is incorrect. The Mona Lisa and Gioconda are two completely different things, and they are not the same thing. At number 2, we have this one. It's from the movie The Karate Kid, which stars Ralph Macchio. He plays the character Daniel-san, and in the item in question is the bandana he wears in the movie. I gave 2 options here, which was the top one, which is the rising sun, or the bottom, which is a lotus flower. And to the surprise of many people, this one caught many people off guard. It was the bottom one, the lotus flower. Josh Bell had this to say, dude, the Karate Kid's bandana was the red rising sun. My brother and I were obsessed with that movie. That lotus one just looks strange to me. Very unfamiliar. This is one of the ones that received the most agreement that it was the red rising sun. I had dozens and dozens of comments saying similar things. Before we jump into number 1, I have another bonus Mandela effect for you guys, and this one has to do with a restaurant. What is the name of this restaurant? Is it Ruby Tuesday or Ruby Tuesdays? And apparently it has always been Ruby Tuesday. No Ruby Tuesdays ever. And I had mentioned before that I double check each of these things to see if it had ever been changed. And I will show you that now. This is how it's always been. They have changed their logo, but it has always been a Ruby Tuesday, as you can see here. And here we go, this is number 1, guys, and it has to do with Poppin Fresh, or as he's most widely known, the Pillsbury Doughboy. And the question was asked, what color was his scarf? And the vast majority of you said it was blue, with a lower percentage saying it was red, and even lower than that, I would say about less than 1 or 2% of the people said that they remember it being white, as it truly is and always has been. And I showed a video where they showed the original Poppin Fresh in a museum, and you can see that he has the white scarf all along. Of course, he has been featured in many cartoons, and he's always shown with a blue scarf. Somebody made the comment that perhaps he's shown with the blue scarf because he is copyrighted and they don't want to infringe on the copyright and get in trouble. However, here in the US, we have something called fair use, which allows us to use the property of other companies in certain ways and still monetize it. And one of those being comedic. That's why you're able to use it. They're able to use it in all these cartoons. And in fact, the same reason I'm able to use this image in this video and not get struck down with a copyright, because it's called fair use. So that is not a valid reason for it to be used with a blue scarf. And there you have it, guys. Those are the top 10 Mandela effects for 2018. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.